Hello and welcome back, and we're on Dr. Popkins' couch. Today I'm really pleased to have a very good friend of mine, Kris Broholm, to talk to you. Hello, Kris.
Hello, Gareth. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Now, Kris is a really nice guy. He's a Dane originally, and he's somebody who is extremely proficient in English, works mainly through English, but also speaks German. And like me, he's a Russian and a Hungarian learner. Kris, how did you come to be learning Hungarian?
Well, as you know, we met in Budapest some time ago for a quick workshop. And,
the way one does.
Yeah, you know. And I was actually going to move to Berlin, you know, because that's kind of a modern tech hipster capital. And I thought, that sounds like a fun place to live. I had my online work, and as I was in Budapest, I thought, this seems pretty nice. You know, why go to Berlin if I'm already in a nice place?
Yeah.
So my feeble skills in Hungarian are mainly from living there for a year and a half. As always, I'd like to be better, but I think it's a very tricky language, first of all. And I think the second thing is once you move to a place, there's a lot of mental strain on you already to make new friends, to make a new life sort of out of it. So I didn't get to do as much studying as I wanted to, and of course the pressure of other languages. But yeah, that's the story behind the...
So just going to the country is not always the best idea?
I think it's a worse idea, actually. For some people, maybe very extrovert people, personalities, it might work really well. Mm-hmm. But I think for many people, they'll be very distracted. For instance, if you're learning Spanish and you come to Tenerife, like we are now, I think a lot of people will be distracted by the beaches, the restaurants, the life sort of. And are you going to go home then and study some flashcards or textbooks, the kind of the grind you actually need to do to learn? I don't think so. So I would say if you can create an environment at home, in your home country, that is a sort of an immersion-like environment, and you have Skype tutoring, I think that's actually better, personally, definitely.
Yeah, my thought is always, particularly at the beginning stages, that once you've already got a good, you're moving to the intermediate levels, then you can run with something, and you're more likely to be able to use the language in your daily life. If you're moving for a longer period, you need to set up an apartment, or you're dealing with practicalities. If you've already got enough language for that, it's easier to set the good habits at the beginning.
Yeah.
You've got something to work with. The same with holiday language. If you can already speak the language, then you can improve from that base. But you might be just overwhelmed if you arrive in the country without any knowledge.
Exactly.
But I mean, motivation is something I've heard you talk about before, and it's a problem for all of us, I suppose. Are there any particular pitfalls on the motivational side that you found people fall into, or when you fall into yourself when you're learning languages?
Oh yeah, all the time. Like I think a really good way to think of motivation is that it's not something you learn and then it's just there. It's really like showering, Showering is good for you, that's why we do it every day, or almost every day, for most people. And I think motivation is a big umbrella term, of course, but I think you need to do that regularly also. And I think with language learning in particular, the problem is that on YouTube or on blogs and stuff, you tend to miss a lot of the process, so you end up getting an idea that is much easier than it is. So for most people, the motivational problem is overwhelmed and like a lack of progress and sort of disappointment or they take on too much in the beginning.
Or unrealistic expectations then, because they're only seeing clips of all the effort that even the most talented language learners are having to put in.
Exactly, yeah.
But how do you deal with that?
Well, like watching a video like this, you get some perspective on the other side of the coin where you say, okay, well actually it's quite a struggle. It takes a lot of effort to learn language. It's not difficult in the sense that it requires some newfound knowledge you don't have, but doing it every day consistently can be quite a chore actually. And by showing people the sacrifice that it is to learn language over time, I mean it's a great joy as well, but that giving a more realistic picture, I think, will prevent that from happening.
So it's important to think at the beginning, do you really want to do this? Why do you need this language?
Yeah.
Otherwise you're going to give up the minute the going gets a bit tough.
Oh yeah, for sure. Or expect it to get tough. That's another thing.
Okay.
Because it will. At some point, you're going to reach a point in your language and you're like, "Ugh, why am I doing this? And why am I not progressing? You know, why am I not fluent yet? You know, and you can have some crushing defeats. Like you can have great conversations, and then you can go down and go to a restaurant and you try to order just a cup of coffee, and the waitress doesn't understand you, and you're like, you know, not again. You know.
So it's forewarned is forearmed.
Yes.
But also that it is unstable, that you have
Very.
the ups and downs all the time.
Yeah.
That's what I found as well. And as you say, sometimes it's the simpler situations actually where you're suddenly tongue-tied. And often the simpler sort of banter and interchanges are more difficult than a more rehearsed, complicated piece.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe, you know, more formal conversation.
Like,
Is this, you know, you're known for being the host of the Actual Fluency podcast. I'll put a link below, folks, to that. So you've talked to a lot of polyglots and language learners who specialise in one language. It's not always, you know, quantity over the years. And is there any common thread you see coming out of, you know, all the people you've spoken to and all the wisdom you've collected?
Yeah, I think there's a consistency, definitely. So instead of learning like 8 hours every 1 day a week, they will generally do something every day or almost every day, and they'll be very strict about this. Like they won't skip those routines usually,
even if it's a short period.
Right, they would
they study for a short amount of time.
Yeah, every day. Even if it's just a short session, let's say 15 minutes, they would usually get it in every day, and maybe multiple sessions. Some people think, oh, I need to do an hour a day, so it must be 1 hour long. But actually, most would do maybe 3 20-minute sessions instead, because that's easier. You know, when you're sitting in your couch at home, with the TV on, you might be thinking, oh, I can't be bothered to do a whole hour. But instead, if you do, okay, I just woke up, I do 20 minutes. Then in the afternoon, maybe when you're done with your work, you can do 20 minutes, and right before bed or something, whatever. Your mileage may vary with those, but that's what I see. And of course, there's, you know, you have to obsess about it a little bit.
Yeah.
Because learning a language independently is an unbelievable venture. Like it's such a huge package if you think about it. Because you're not only just learning words and meanings, it's culture, it's you know, there's several modes like listening, speaking, writing, and everything. So be prepared for that, but do it consistently. And
so that's what it is. They stick at it. Then it's not. There's no language gene, as we always say.
No, some people are predisposed for it. I think. Yeah. Those are the same people who would probably some time ago would have been really good musicians or some kind of skill that takes a lot of practice. Yeah. Because they have this obsessive personality, many of them, which means that they just keep studying. They keep. For them, it's about the process. You know, it's about spending the time. And someone like Richard Simcoe, whom we both know, he says that he gets energized by studying languages. Like it lights him up. Whereas many people find the opposite. Like it's quite tiring to go through textbooks and lessons and stuff. So yeah, never give up is a great tip.
So never give up, and don't forget that for those of us, most people only want to learn one language. So you don't have to obsess, but you do need to be clear about why you're doing it, and then do even if it's 20 minutes, 15 minutes, consistently.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people are afraid to ask for help as well.
Yeah.
So they would think, oh, I'm doing it on my own, so I need to do it with a textbook and just an audio tape. But I think with technology today, getting tutoring through italki or other places like Skype, tutoring is really beneficial. It's invaluable, really, and so accessible and affordable these days that you can skip quite a lot of struggle, because you get instant feedback, you get instant corrections, which, you know, I guess 30 years ago was kind of unheard of. Yeah. You would know.
Yeah, I would know, yes. Feedback, this is, I think I call it sort of corrective feedback. So you've got to do a lot of practice, but if you're practicing something wrong, you're going to sort of solidify the mistake. So there needs to be sort of corrective feedback.
Yeah, and also if you think of a language school, traditional, maybe in school, if you went to French classes, German classes, or whatever you went to, you're 20 people maybe, sharing one teacher. So the speed of the class is going to be the slowest student. But if you're only one teacher, one student, you can go so fast because she will correct your shortcomings so quickly. So I think that's another one that really helped me. With that said, that is difficult for many. That's kind of like an issue because of some people are a bit shy, introverts maybe. So for Skype lessons, and it still is for me, I've done, I don't know, 50 maybe, more than 50 lessons online. And I'm still nervous when I get online because it's a foreign language, and yeah, I don't know. You probably don't get nervous. You're probably a bit different than that.
I quite like the one-to-one of using Skype, and I use iTalk Hi a lot too. I'll put the link to that underneath. But I do like being in a class a bit too, just for more sort of community and motivation.
Oh yeah.
But I think the key thing is, for me is that that's a supplement, but I always keep responsibility for my own language learning.
Yeah.
And it's in the one-to-ones that I actually drive it forward most, I think, or in very focused groups of motivated language learners.
Yeah.
So I think that's quite clear. There's a lot of great advice there. It's anyone can do it. You need to be consistent. Yeah. And be realistic about the scale of the task.
Yeah, but what I will also say, just if I can add something there, is some people think that it's a binary experience. Let's say, I want to learn German. They think either they have learned German or they haven't.
Yeah.
But actually, I find that language learning rewards you from day one and consistently throughout the experience. So let's say you have, like in the UK, for instance, there are many Polish delicatessen, nice little specialty shops. If you shop there regularly, just and say hello in English, if you learned the words for hello and thank you, that would change your relationship with that shop completely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or if you had an Italian restaurant, you can say hi and thank you and can I have the bill, Learning those words would take you minutes, but the rewards on the other end are actually ridiculously high because...
So it's all about connecting, really, and even at different levels. You say it's not binary. I like that.
No, it's not at all. And I think that people have this tendency to believe that once I'm done learning, I can finally use it. But actually, you can use it from day one, first of all, and you get instant rewards. So if you have friends or connections or family, and you start just use it a little bit, they start smiling, they light up, and you kind of make their day just by that. Yeah. So that helps the motivation as well.
Okay, great. Well, thanks a lot for talking to us, Kris. How are we going to say goodbye in Danish?
You say farewell.
Farewell. Okay, I can cope with that. Check out the links below then. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done already. And see you soon. Farewell. Farewell.
Be natural. Don't put on
natural. I am natural.
Do you think you're sitting close enough now?
He thinks I'm not natural.
Is that close enough? Do you think?
Absolutely. Okay. Pause. Wait. Yeah. Hello, everybody, and welcome back onto Dr. Popkins' couch. That's going to be good.
What did I sign up for here?
Okay. Serious face.
Okay.